Okay, system. So we're going to do circle system and write two equations. We're going to do two of them. And now we're going to do inequalities. So this first guy right here, y is greater than a negative 2x plus 4. Tell me the m and the b of this first inequality. M is negative 2. What's b? B is 4. So let's graph it. Your first dot is on the y-axis of 4. Now go m. Let's make it a negative 2 over 1. So let's go down 2, right 1. Down 2, right 1. Down 2, right 1. Down 2. Okay, because it's an inequality, we're going to connect them with a solid line or a dotted line. Dotted. This one's going to be dotted because it's greater than. It's not inclusive. So let's draw a greater than right there. Let's draw dotted. And then your answer is going to fall in one of two regions. It's going to be everything above it or everything below it. Your answer is going to fall where? Is it everything above it or everything below it? It's y is anything greater than. So it's going to be your answer really, really, really lightly. Let's shade it. It's going to be everything above. Really lightly. Because now we're going to have to do the second inequality in the same grid. And if you start doing it dark, it's going to get really messy really fast. So your second one, let me change colors. Your second one, what is the m and the b of the second one? M is 1 over 1 and b is negative 2. So let's graph it. Start on your b. Negative 2, come down here, put a dot. And then let's use our slope 1 over 1. Up 1, 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 over 1. Down 1, left 1. Okay, this one, dotted line or solid line. Because it's less than or equal to, it's going to be a solid line. So if it was just a normal system, your answer would be where they cross, right here. But because it's inequalities, it's going to be a region. So this line, is your answer everywhere above it or everywhere below it? Y is anything less than. So less than is underneath. Now your answer is the two regions that they have in common. So do you see how it makes an X? It kind of divides it into four pieces. Let's call this guy piece 1. Let's call this over here piece 2. Let's call this down here piece 3. And this over here, let's call it piece 4. So your answer is only in one of these regions. Which region is your answer in? So it's got to be below the purple and it's got to be above the orange. So your answer is this region, number 4. So that's where we're going to shade our answer. So right here, the solution to a system of inequalities is the intersection of the regions they have in common. You shade that region extra dark. Does that make sense? Let's try this one out. Try the next slide. Oh, I'm on freeze. I gotta unfreeze it. Okay, your first one. Your m and your b. M is always the number in front of x, the number times x, so your m is 1 over 1. B is the number out by itself with no variable, so b is 1. So on the y-axis you got a dot of 1. Go up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, down 1, left 1. Dotted line or solid line? Dotted line, because it's not equal to. It's just greater than. Now, is it everything above it or below it? Y is anything greater than, so it's going to kind of be above. And I really can't do it light. So, there we go. That's your first one. Okay, your second one's kind of tricky because it's the absolute value of y. What does the absolute value mean? is the distance. There's going to be two answers. There's going to be two ways you can go. The first way you can go is just y is less than or equal to 3, right? What's the second way you can go? Y is greater than or equal to a negative 3. So you make the 3 negative and then you change the direction of your inequality. So now you have got 3 inequalities. Let's do this one. Y is anything less than or equal to 3. So on the y-axis at 3, I'm going to have a dot. And I'm going to have a horizontal line. Dotted or solid?
Solid.
Solid. So I'm going to have a horizontal line. And is everything below it or above it? Below. Y is anything less than, so it's below here. And now this last and third, y is anything greater than or equal to a negative 3. Let me switch colors. Green. Let's do green. Y is greater than or equal to a negative 3. So on your y-axis down here, negative 3, you're going to have a horizontal line, solid. And y is anything greater than, so it's going to be above. So where's the region that they all have in common? It's got to be above the green, below the red, and above the purple. So it's going to be anywhere right here. That is the one region where they all overlap. They've all got in common. So this stuff's kind of fun. Let's try this one. So your m is going to be 1/2 and your b is going to be 1. So if you start up at 1, go up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, down 1, left 2, and it's going to be greater than, so that's a dotted line. Shade everything above it or below it. Greater than is going to be above. And number 2, M and B. M is going to be 1/2 again, so that means they're parallel. B is a negative 3, so start at negative 3, up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2. Or maybe, shoot, they don't look parallel. Did I mess up somewhere? Oh, probably just with my line. Dotted line. And shade everything below. So the answer is what they've got in common. What do they have in common?
0.
They have nothing in common. So the answer is no solution. But right here, this is the $1,000,000 question. This paragraph right here. What would your answer look like if everything was the same, but this guy right here was switched into a less than, or into, it already is less than. If it was switched so that it read greater than, what would your answer be then? So if it wasn't less than, if it was greater than, I would shade everything above it, right? So it's got to be above the blue line and above the green line. Where's your answer? Anything above the green line, right there. Because that's what they both have in common.